So it doesn't seem like everything's coming up roses for the relationship between co-defendants Allen Weisselberg and the Trump Organization. So what might happen next? Let's talk about that. Because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So it sure looks like the relationship between the Trump Organization and its longtime chief financial officer, Allen Weisselberg, is getting a little rocky now that they have been indicted together as co-defendants by the state of New York. Why do I say their relationship is getting a little rocky? Well, here's a headline from the Business Insider. Trump Organization CFO Allen Weisselberg has been terminated as the director of one of Trump's golf courses in Scotland. And that article reads in part, Allen Weisselberg, the Trump Organization's chief financial officer, was terminated as the director and controller of one of former President Donald Trump's golf courses in Scotland a week after the executive and the company were charged with tax crimes. And I might add other crimes: criminal scheme to defraud, grand larceny, falsifying documents, just to name a few, 15 charges in all. So what precisely does this mean? We don't know. But let's talk about the possibilities. So when prosecutors indict co-defendants together, it generally becomes sort of part game of chess and part game of chicken, right? The co-defendants will either kind of hold strong, right? They'll bond together, they'll show a united front against the common enemy, the prosecutors who are trying to hold them accountable for their crimes, or they will split apart and they will begin to contemplate cooperating with the prosecution, flipping. Often, when I've indicted large conspiracy cases, it becomes a race to the prosecutor's office to see which co-defendant can, strike the first plea agreement and cooperation deal, because often the first co-defendant in the door will get the most benefit, the best deal. Now, there's no indication that there has been a race to the prosecutor's office yet when it comes to Allen Weisselberg or the Trump Organization. Of course, this is just round one of the indictments, but it seems like they may be holding strong at the moment. But is this a crack in the dam or in the relationship when the Trump Organization terminates Weisselberg from a consequential piece of his responsibilities as chief financial officer? I think it's a valuable data point because it may be an indication that the Trump Organization has looked at the indictment and they've seen how strong it is against Allen Weisselberg. And so maybe they're starting to make the calculation that the best defense for the Trump Organization is to blame it all on Weisselberg. He was the chief financial officer for decades. He apparently was running two sets of books, unbeknownst to Donald Trump and the organization, of course. He was getting all this off-the-books compensation, and he was criminally evading paying federal taxes, state taxes, New York City taxes, hundreds of thousands of dollars. When you read the indictment, even Allen Weisselberg's own tax preparer is cooperating against him and apparently saying, Weisselberg lied to me about all of this. So the Trump Organization might be saying, Weisselberg looks pretty good as the fall guy. After all, he's the one benefiting to the tune of hundreds of thousands, more than $1 million by this criminal scheme he's been running. It looks like with this move, terminating him from some of his substantial duties, it could be the Trump Organization sort of nudging Allen Weisselberg toward the undercarriage of a bus. And that could be pretty bad for Allen Weisselberg. But you know what? It could be really bad for Donald Trump and the Trump Organization. Because if Weisselberg's lawyers get the sense that the Trump Organization or Donald Trump may begin to point the finger at him, that may drive Allen Weisselberg into the open arms of the prosecutors. And he may cooperate. And he may say, yeah, oh yeah, I cooked the books. Oh yeah, I criminally benefited from getting off the books compensation. Yes, I evaded paying taxes. But so did Donald Trump. And I did it all at his direction because that's the way he wanted his organization run. That would end up being not so good for the Trump Organization and for Donald Trump. But it would sure be a little bit of justice. And justice matters. Folks, as always, please stay safe. Please stay tuned. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.